Okay, so I got interested in Caulorhiza umbonata, the redwood rooter, and one of the first questions I want to ask is where does it grow, where do we know that it grows? And I want to show you sort of the way that I go about answering those kind of questions for myself when I have them. So we go to iNaturalist here, and search bar is an easy way to start. Caulorhiza, that's the species we're looking for, redwood rooter. And this will default to North America. That's sort of the default setting for me. And it shows an interesting distribution pattern. There's a lot of ways you can sort of just look at what's on screen here. There's 1,037 observations that it's showing. The filters are such that they're verifiable. So that's only showing me observations with photos at least. I could uncheck that if I wanted records, image list records as well, but we'll leave that there for now. And I could also modify location and sort of more filters, all sorts of different things I could play with. But right now, I could also look at the people who've submitted these, or identified rather. There's 125 people who've identified it, 530 who've submitted it, whether or not they knew what it was at the time. So let's just go back to the observations. There's a couple good ways to look at simply the observations themselves. So over here on the right, there's sort of a scrolling bar of all the observations, and on the left is the map itself. It's being really laggy right now. But I could also look at these in a grid form if I was most interested in the images and what the mushroom looked like. Or I could view it in a list form, which is sort of a hybrid that shows you some of the metadata associated with the record all in one view. So the date, the user, the location, and a little thumbnail. So grid is best if you're looking for a particular look to the species, something about the image, the visual aspect of the mushroom that you want to search for. The list is better for a slightly expanded metadata browsing mode, and then map obviously is best for the geography. And that's what I'm most interested in right now. And you can see there's some pretty clear patterns in the geography. It's largely a West Coast mushroom, and in particular California, Central California, not even most of California. There's this single super isolated record in the Northern Rockies of Canada, and then a bunch of scattered East Coast records that we'll have to go look at. So anytime that I'm sort of doing data vetting on a species, in iNat, I look for those outlier records first. So the whole East Coast presents a swarm that we need to look through. But let's look at this outlier record first. It's sort of the most sore thumb looking record. So I can click on it, then I can click on the name, and it takes me to the record itself. And is this Caulorhiza umbonata? I don't think there's anywhere near enough information to identify what it is for sure, but it's definitely not umbonata. It's got sort of the opposite shape that the cap should have. It's got a depressed cap center instead of an umbonate cap center. It's small, it's in moss, it's way out of range. This looks to me something more like one of the funnel-capped former Clitosebes, so Infundibulicebe, so we'll leave it at the genus level, and that should kick it out of the Caulorhiza map once the server updates. So, first record is addressed. I want to get rid of these East Coast records if possible. I don't think any of them should pertain to C. umbonata, so let's just start at the top, do the Canadian ones. And actually, rather than clicking directly on the name, I like to open a new tab so I don't lose my place. On the map, is this a redwood rooter? No, I don't know what it is, but it's deeply striate. I'm just going to call it agaricales. It's some sort of guild mushroom. And there's a difference between those green and orange options that it just popped up in that bar, but I'm not going to go into that right now. It's sort of a separate video. Okay, so we've addressed that record. Let's go to this record here, near Montreal. A lot of these are just going to be agaricales. Part of the problem is that Caulorhiza is a really generic looking mushroom, and the AI probably thinks that a lot more mushrooms look like Caulorhiza than actually are. This to me looks like Gymnopus luxurians. So we'll just do that. Even if it doesn't achieve research grade under that name, it will bump it down if we reload this to agaricales, and that's fine by me. That's good enough. Okay, that record's addressed. Now we've done all the Canada records. Let's do Vermont. Okay, this looks like it's not Caulorhiza. I don't know what it is. Maybe another Infundibulus, but I'm just going to call it Agaricales. It's always safe to use really sort of generic groupings for these mushrooms you don't know. You don't have to identify it to species, but you can say there's not enough information there to establish it as what it's currently going as on the record. Let's do this main one. Okie doke. No idea. Maybe a marasmus type thing. I'm happy to leave that as Agaricales. This is sort of out of my wheelhouse. I don't know what the options are in the Northeast, so do that. Okay, I'll just briefly say, is the evidence provided enough to confirm this is Caulorhiza umbonata? I don't know, would suggest that I don't know whether the evidence is good enough. But I do know that. I know that the evidence is not good enough to call it Caulorhiza, so I'm choosing this orange one. It's a slightly more conservative. Well, it depends on which way you phrase it, but it's a vote of lesser confidence in the original identification provided on the observation. So I'm gonna say no. Okay, we're getting through these Eastern records. Or Eastern observations, I should say. I shouldn't call them records. Okay, let's do this one in the middle of wherever that is. Westchester. Looks like maybe another Gymnopus. It's growing in wood chips. Yeah, I'm gonna call that Gymnopus, probably luxurians. And if I'm wrong, it's not defaulting to this name. It's just gonna knock it back to Agaricales because there's only 2 IDs so far. So we'll reload that just to show you. Yeah, it goes down to Agaricales. Fine by me. I don't want to add things that I know are wrong or I suspect are wrong. I could have just done Agaricales there, but I thought I had a pretty good chance of identifying it correctly as Gymnopus luxurians. I don't know what this is, but once again, cap texture is kind of wrong. Maybe a Hymenopellus with that really sort of, you can see it's got these sort of like ridges and veins. I think that's probably right. Oh, these all changed recently. I'm gonna call it, what is the family? Phyzelacriaceae? Just to make sure. Hymenopellus is in what family? Yeah, Phyzelacriaceae. Okay, great. Done. A few more of these. Looks like this might be another Gymnopus luxurians. No, this is like a, don't know what this is. Agaricales is fine here. This is really not my primary goal right now, is to correct all these Eastern records. I'm just getting them out of the docket of Caulorhiza observations. So someone else can come and provide correct IDs or more specific IDs for these, but my goal right now is to sort of correct their incorrect name, not to give the correct name necessarily. So I'm being conservative in general. I'm bumping it down to Agaricales, which is in fact correct. It's just not very specific. Once again, Agaricales. These are some pretty difficult photos to work with. Now we just got the southeast to deal with, I think. Lost my place there for a second. What you can do is you can actually open all these tabs at once so you don't have to keep doing this. Okay, once I get through all these, it should just be the Western records to deal with after that. And there are other species of Caulorhiza, Caulorhiza hygrophoroides, which is something I'm really confused about. We won't get into that right now, so this looks like some sort of Canossibe. This looks like, I don't know what, but it's an Agaricales. It's not Caulorhiza umbonata anyways. The nice thing about providing Agaricales as a general identification is that it doesn't prevent someone from coming in and providing a more specific ID later. Now this is an interesting one. It kind of does look superficially like a Caulorhiza, but it's in wood chips. I don't really know what it is. I'm gonna call it, oh, it looks like Elsa Valinga, mushroom expert from UC Berkeley, my fairy godmother. She's almost always right, so I'm just gonna agree with her, Garicales, and bump it out of Caulorhiza. Don't know what these are, except for extremely blurry, so we're gonna call those Garicales, and this should have dealt with all of the eastern records. Whew. Okay, that's done. Now we can focus on the more interesting records in California, where it's actually more likely to be this species. So close these. Okay, I don't really know exactly what's going on with the Pacific Northwest yet. We can do those. Okay, let's just scan through some of these. So a way to scan through these and see if they're sort of generally correct is to redo the search in the map. So it's now just limited to the ones that are outside California because my map view is north of that, and then go to the grid and we can sort of just scan through these and say how many of these are correct. And it looks like there's a lot of incorrect IDs here. Looks like some Phaeocolibias, looks like some Macrocystidias, possibly some Hyphalomas, some Nolanias. Almost none of these actually appear to be Caulorhiza. So let's go back and see where that bounding box was. If we can get a good bounding box that is just sort of not California. Yeah, this should be good. Okay, so let's go to the grid here. We can just open all these. Oh wait, can we identify from this? No, I wish we could. 56 observations, it's gonna take a little while. It's an armillaria, who knows what that is? That's Alecterius. That one has potential. Oh, and there's redwoods there. That could be one of the southern Oregon redwoods. That'd be a cool record. Okay, so let's work through these for now. There's redwoods in a lot of these photos, which makes me think that either we accidentally got some of the California records in our bounding box, or these are the southern redwoods in Oregon. So let's just start going through these. Okie doke, don't know what this is, but it's not the Caulorhiza. Totally wrong stature, wrong gill aspect. Oh my god, laggy. That one's done. Sort of annoying that you have to do this sort of green-orange pop-up box every time, but that's how you keep data good, I guess. Make people actually think about what they're doing rather than just zooming through. Lefford Trail, Crescent City. So we did get oh no, that's in Oregon. Okay. Don't know what this is. Entelomatoid? I don't know, it's a Garicales. Yeah, stipes are too thin, gills are starting to go pinkish, don't know what that is. Possibly entelomatoid. This is correct. Long rooting stipe, umbonate cap, redwood needles, awesome. So this actually is far north enough. Where's the Oregon line? Yeah, okay, this is in California. We did get a few California records. This looks like Armillaria nabsnona. And how can I tell? It's got an orange cap that's striate, little hairs on it, a white cottony partial veil, growing in a riparian area. You can see the big leaf maple and alder leaves around it. Yeah, it's growing on dead wood. Here's the log that it's growing on. Okay, that is probably a solid ID, so it's nice to add that there. This is a Rhodocolibia. Don't ask me why. It's not our goal here. Here's Alecterius. This looks correct. Yep. Look at that nice long rooting tail. This is really typical, is to have this sort of floccose, hairy white stem down below the level of the ground. Ooh, there's a little ascomycete growing in there on the redwood needles too. That's rad. Anyways, that umbonate cap, redwood needles, this looks good, solid. It's also in California, not surprising. Okay, this looks like Alecterius. This is probably an AI suggestion. This is really useful to do for practically any species that you know well, and you really should know it well. You should be under really clear about the ecology of the species, the range of variation in the morphology of the species. This is not something you should do for things that you sort of know. Cleaning up data like this is a really important step, but you shouldn't feel pressured to do it, or unless you really know the species and you feel like you can actually add some serious value by doing it. This looks correct. And Caulorhiza is a species that I'm extremely familiar with, so I feel good doing this right now. Don't know what that is, but it's got white cottony margin around the edge of the cap, so this looks like a Garicales, maybe a quart or something, I don't know. Doesn't matter, not my goal. My goal is to knock it out of Caulorhiza, not to give the exact specific ID. Okay, this looks correct. Yep, Noah thinks it's right, I think it's right, good. It's a nice northern record for it. This looks correct as well. Yikes, Mike's. Yikes, Mike's is right, not yikes. Good job, Mike. I like it. All right, this is also correct. Good, this is also California, not surprising. This is a marathon. No, I went through and did some of these. That's cool. Also correct. Yikes, Mike is on a roll here. Okay, a few more of these. Well, more than a few more. Looks like a lot of hyphalomas in this batch. Not sure why hyphalomas are getting flagged as Caulorhizas. That one looks right. That one looks right. These are probably more California records. That's an entelomatoid for sure. That's a Lacaria. This one has some potential. That one's probably a Gymnopus. Maybe a Tricholoma. We'll see when we open these all up. Okay, and then let's just, that's a Satharella, pretty sure. Okay, we'll only have a few more once we're done with these. Okay. Staying with me? We gotta do calisthenics for this. Hyphiloma, maybe? Foliota? I don't know. Garicales. Not wasting my time on this. Once again, it's fine to knock it out of Caulorhiza by using this orange button without providing a specific ID, because someone can also come along afterwards and do that. This is Hyphiloma fasciculare, at least the group. This also looks like Hyphiloma fasciculare. I need another cup of coffee or something. Is this boring? Yes. Is it useful? Marginally? I find it useful. I'm glad I'm doing it. Once again, I got Achilles. Don't want to spend too much mental energy on this. This is not my primary goal right now. Oh, look at someone actually provided comments here. This is always really nice to see. Stuart Wexler here actually gave solid comments to the original identifier, Ayla King, or original observer, about why this isn't the Redwood rooter. Curiously, he didn't go ahead and take the next step and propose a Garicales or something to knock it out of Caulorhiza. Or maybe he wasn't sure, actually. Maybe this is actually Caulorhiza. I should have looked closer. Oh, it's really hard to tell. Let's see, where is it? Oh, it's in British Columbia. We're going to say that would be a pretty exceptional record, so we'd need way more evidence to support a claim like that. Okay, knock that out. This is Lactarius, just on stature. Let's just make sure I'm not losing my mind here, shooting from the hip. Nope, definitely Lactarius. Okay. Forks, Washington. This would be pretty spectacular if it was. Doesn't look like it, but there's no additional photos, so we're just going to call it Garicales. I don't know if this is useful for anyone but me, but here we are. This looks more like a... No, that could be it. I'm not sure about this one. I think that's it. There's redwood needles there. I'm going to leave that one alone. I don't know what to do with that one. That's fine. This is Entomotaceae. And I'm going to leave a comment here because this person went way out of their way to give an awesome description, all sorts of information, and a person who's doing that, I feel like definitely deserves a little more of my mental energy in responding here. So Emma J4, thanks for an awesome observation. Really recently, just a couple months ago. So I'm going to say, awesome detailed description. The mature gills are showing some pink tones, and that's a great clue as to their family disposition. In this case, and Talomatacea. All right, awesome. Cool record. This is a group that I particularly like. Yeah, this is cool. Lacaria. How do I know it's Lacaria? Caps are a little bit scruffy. That's one good clue. In this case, it's a lot of insect damage, kind of obscuring it. But then that twisted striate stipe and pinkish tones overall, rather distant gills. Probably something like Lacaria nobilis with those conifers. This is a northern record. I don't know. This kind of looks... What are these? I don't know. Agaricales. Once again, it's in Vancouver. It would be kind of an extraordinary claim, so we need more evidence to feel good about it. I would. Maybe you don't. This is really dark stemmed, stiped, whatever. Gymnopus maybe. I feel okay about that. Agaricales. Don't know. Super gregarious but not clumped. Once again, it's in Vancouver, I think. No, British Columbia, near Victoria. These look to be something else. Don't know. Totally wrong shape. Wrong. Oh, this is Armillariella ectypoides, maybe? I'm going to leave that as a comment. When I'm not sure, sometimes what I'll do is I'll propose Agaricales, and then I'll say, check out Armillariella ectypoides. Is that even what it's called anymore? I don't know. Armillariella what is it called now? Pseudoarmillariella, that's what it's called. Pseudoarmillariella. I never see that mushroom, so. Armillariella, did I spell that right? Armillariella, okay. I think, whatever. Okay. Satharella here. How do I know it's Satharella? If we zoom in here, we'll see that the gills are starting to develop this sort of gray-brown tone. So right there. And the cap is sort of hygrophanous. It's fading to this milky white color as it loses moisture. They look small. There's a needle right there for comparison. Satharella is fine. Okay, where did we leave off? That was our last one. Thanks for sticking with us if you stuck with it so far. Although, why am I saying thanks? I should probably say more like, why are you still here? Maybe it's entertaining, maybe you're learning. But really, this is sort of the menial labor side of data vetting, but it's super useful. I know it feels probably tedious, but look, we're about done with these non-California records, which means we will have just gone through all the non-California Caulorhiza records in iNaturalist and sort of given them a once-over. This is the sort of upkeep that citizen science data or community science data requires to make it most useful. Okay, so I'm going to leave that tab open. We're going to bust through the rest of these real quick. This looks like an inosopy, or in this new scheme, inosperma, I believe. But I'm not totally sure. You know, that looks right. Anosperma, I think. This also looks like an inosopy, curiously. And I don't know what new section it would fit into. I need to read this new skin for the old ceremony paper. That's in Portland, don't know what it is. Agaricales is fine. It's just, oops, I closed that too soon. History, that one, I think. Right, yeah, okay. Agaricales. Nope, all right. This is some sort of phytosoboid. Has a sunken rather than umbonate cap. It's more gray-brown colors. Yeah, just not right. There's only one photo here, and it's in the wrong part of the world. Without more data, we wouldn't even begin to consider it. Where is this? Lake, Oklahoma. Oh yeah. More inosopes. Actually, I'm going to call it iNaturalist because someone's going to go through and correct all the old iNaturalist records and put them in their new generic dispositions, but it's not going to be me because I haven't done the research yet. It'll be easier for them to find it under iNaturalist than the new records. This might be a tricholoma, but there's no data here, so we're going to call it a Caulorhiza. Reload just to make sure it bumps down. Oh, it didn't. Why? Did I forget to hit save? What's going on here? It's not bumping down. Did this person opt out of community ID? Oh no, it's because 2 people identified it as such. Bummer. Okay, so when this is the case where I can't sort of override the wrong ID, I do leave a comment so that these people can come back and revisit. So DJ Evergreen and Aubrey Pledger. So Aubrey Pledger and at DJ Evergreen, the small dark band of veil tissue around the edge of the cap plus dark orange brown cap and far northern distribution away from redwoods suggest this is something else. Probably need more photos for ID. Okay, I've done my due diligence. That's all I can do there. This is correct. That's nice. Nice classic ones with that peaked center of the cap, redwood needles all around. It's from Humboldt, so not surprising. These are Armillaria again. Probably Nabsnona, but I'm just going to leave it at the genus. Yeah, it's probably Nabsnona, but whatever. No, it's definitely Nabsnona. Look at that alder around and translucent striate, deeply so, orange. Okay, I'm going to make this more specific. Look, here's a little evidence of my uncertainty. I first proposed it as genus and then a second later caught myself. That's fine. I like leaving breadcrumbs about my mental state on iNaturalist. Cortinarius maybe, I don't know, Agaricales. If you don't give me more pictures, I can't give you more specific ideas. What can I say? This is a Phaeocolybia, which is really cool, much cooler, or at least more interesting to some people than Caulorhiza. They share the long rooting stem or stipe base of Caulorhiza, but they're brown spored, mycorrhizal. Some of them are quite rare. How do I know that it's not a Caulorhiza? Hard to say. That stipe color and sort of waxy look is indicative. Maybe the gill spacing, and then the cap is very, very dark. There are some Caulorhiza in this range. It also looks a little bit viscid or something, which Caulorhiza aren't usually. So it's hard for me to explain the gestalt there, but it's a Phaeocolybia. This is not. I don't know what this is. This is something with scaly cap, a small armillaria. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Weird. Actually, I found a few like that before. Let's see if I can look those up later. This is like Gymnopolis or something. Yeah, I think it's a Gymnopolis. Those bright, but those gills are really pale. No, I think it is, yeah. Some of the Gymnopolis don't have very yellow or orange gills. Okay, this is interesting. That does have a long, oh, it's a Lacaria again. See those really widely spaced gills, striate, stipe, which actually, Caulorhiza can have occasionally, but yeah, the cap surface is wrong. It's not umbonate. And then it's, you know, at the top of Mount Baker, so, or at Snoqualmie Pass, it looks like. Wrong elevation, so Lacaria. These are Conoscibes in someone's garden. Guys, we're one observation away. Here we go. What is this? Gymnopus confluens, probably. I feel good enough about it to just leave it there. If I'm wrong, someone will correct it. And it bumps down to Agaricales anyways. I'm not renaming it. Okay. The server won't update for a bit, but that was the last one. And I think this means that we've done all of the non-California records. We've reviewed all of the non-California records of Caulorhiza umbonata on iNaturalist. Wait, we want to get rid of this bounding box and just redo this completely. Okay, but now I'm scared. How many more are there in the world that aren't even in the United States? Ugh. Should we just do these really quick? There's only 4 of them. That's somewhat heartening. Okay, there's one in Europe. Great Britain. That's not it. There's one in, what is this? Finland? Russia? And then one in Japan? That's not right. Okay, but there's only 4. That's actually pretty good. When I did Caulorhiza californicus, the oak chanterelle. Oh no, wait, I missed more. There's one in Borneo. Ugh. That's not right. And there's one in New Zealand. How did Jerry Cooper not catch that one? Maybe he hasn't caught up to it yet. The man can't be everywhere at once. He tries though. Okay, let's go look at these really quick. What is this? Great Britain, that's an inosebia probably. I don't know. Safe enough. Someone will correct it. Agaricales. Interesting. What is this? Pluteus? There's some pink in those gills. Yeah, it's a Pluteus. Wait, but where are we? I shouldn't overreach here. We're in some northern coniferous zone. Yeah, there's wood chips there. It's a plute. Let's see if that bumps down. Yeah, to Agaricales, good. This is curious. This is like a Termitomyces maybe. It's got that super peaked umbo, really grooved cap. I'm going to call it that because I feel relatively safe in determining the genus, but I could be wrong there. It looks like it might even have been taken in a grocery or like an outdoor market. There's plastic bags in the background, and Termitomyces are a commercially sold mushroom in a lot of Asia and Africa. So, I don't know. That's not exactly a piece of evidence, but it is, I guess. Just sort of a weak one or a strange one. Don't know what this is, maybe an Amanita or something. And it's in Borneo, so I'm just going to call it Agaricales. This is the Bornean one. Yeah. Sarawak. Nice. Let's take a closer look at it really quick. It looks like it has some cap scales. Yeah, Amanita seems like probably correct. All right, moving on. Agaricales, I don't know what this is. This is in Wakatane. I've been there, weirdly. I think it's pronounced Fakatane. It was very dry when I was there. Near Wakatane, okay. Agaricales, Jerry Cooper will come fix this eventually. Okay, now we've done not only all of the non-Californian Caulorhizas in North America, but the world. Amazing. So let's see if the server updates fast enough to observe the fruits of our hard work. Oh, but then I just searched for the genus. No, let's do ourselves a favor and just look for umbonata. What? I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Caulorhiza, umbonata. Nope, server hasn't updated yet. We don't get to get the nice, satisfying feeling of a cleaned up map just yet. We'll check in a few minutes and see if it's done it. Next step is going through all the California records. I think what this has shown us, though, is that Caulorhiza umbonata at least isn't recorded on iNat outside of California. I was kind of surprised, actually, to see that there wasn't a few from Southern Oregon. At least I think there weren't. We'll have to look at the map once it updates. But now we'll go through the Californian ones and see what the distribution is there. In particular, I'm curious about this one record in the foothills. We can probably just take a sneak peek at that one right now, and I can already tell you it's not going to be right. That's something else. All right, enough for now.